So use extra, extra virgin olive oil. It's 100% pure, like me.
A mother with her children?
I just saw Elvis.
If you think you know every wild moment from Married with Children, get ready, because the story you're about to hear is one most fans never even got the chance to see. For a sitcom that became one of the longest-running hits on American television, it's almost unbelievable that the show started off with critics calling it crude, messy, and downright offensive. Yet those exact qualities turned it into a cult favorite, pulling in huge ratings as viewers tuned in week after week to watch what chaotic trouble the Bundy family would stumble into next. But here's the twist. Just when fans thought they had seen the most outrageous episode possible, the creators filmed one so shocking that the network locked it away. Not postponed, not delayed, completely buried. For decades, that forbidden episode stayed hidden. Too controversial, executives said, too risky to air. Now, after all these years, it's finally stepping out of the vault. The real question is, was it truly too extreme for TV, or did the network simply fold under outside pressure? I'll tell the story, you decide for yourself. Created by Michael G. Moy and Ron Leavitt for the Fox Broadcasting Company, Married with Children hit TV screens on April 5, 1987, and didn't wrap up until June 9, 1997. Over those 10 years, the show delivered 11 seasons and 259 episodes. The series technically ended in May 1997, yet a month later, Fox aired 2 extra episodes that never made it back to television again. At the heart of the show is the Bundy family, a proudly dysfunctional group led by Al Bundy, a former high school football star turned unlucky women's shoe salesman. His wife Peggy is famously lazy, and their 2 kids couldn't be more different. Kelly is lovable but not exactly smart, while Bud is quick-thinking and sharp. Their world gets even funnier thanks to their neighbors, Steve and Marcy Rhodes. Al thinks they're annoying, and honestly, they feel the same about him. Because the characters don't act like your typical warm and fuzzy sitcom family, the show often leans into satire, edgy jokes, and politically incorrect moments, which is one of the reasons critics were always divided. The show pushed boundaries regularly, but there's one episode that completely stole the spotlight. Some people think the entire series is controversial, but there's one story that stands above the rest. So much so that Fox refused to air it in the United States. That episode is the lost or banned episode titled I'll See You in Court, originally meant to be the 10th episode of Season 3. Things start normally enough when Al and Peggy visit a motel called the Hop-On Inn, but their world flips upside down when they discover the motel secretly recorded them during intercourse. And worse, the tape is being sold as adult content, and the chaos doesn't stop there. Steve and Marcy learned they were recorded too. Outraged, both couples decide to sue the motel. Sure, Married with Children is known for innuendos and wild humor, but this episode took things a big step further, stacking up one problematic moment after another. For example, we see just how similar Al and Marcy really are. At one point, Al is ready to physically confront the motel staff for recording them without permission, and surprisingly, Marcy fully supports his reaction, even threatening the staff herself. Meanwhile, Peggy and Steve choose the proper approach, taking legal action, but that doesn't make them saints either. Peggy, known for being lazy, also reveals how entitled she can be, telling Al he should be jailed if he dares spend his own money on himself. She even threatens him if he refuses to be intimate with her, which definitely crosses a moral line. Then there's Steve, bragging about being courtroom ready, only to disrespect the judge by refusing to stand. Even Al and Peggy knew better than that. But the biggest issue in the episode, and the reason it sparked so much controversy, is the theme of non-consensual recording. That alone pushed the network to pull the episode, especially during a time when a national boycott was forming against the show. The campaign was led by Terry Raccolta, a well-known anti-obscenity activist who openly criticized the show, especially after an earlier episode titled Her Cups Runneth Over. With advertisers threatening to pull out and pressure building from viewers, Fox decided to shelve I'll See You in Court in 1989. The episode didn't see the light of day until years later, when the cable channel FX bought the rerun rights. Only then was it finally aired, labeled as the long-lost, banned episode. Speaking of controversial stories, there's another episode that caused a stir of its own. The very one that started Terry Ricolta's outrage. Her cups runneth over. It's the 6th episode of Season 3, and the plot centers on Al and Steve desperately searching for Peggy's favorite bra that's been discontinued. Just like many Married with Children episodes, it's packed with raunchy jokes and bold humor that pushed audiences' comfort zones at the time. This episode, though, didn't just push the limits, it practically launched itself past them. One scene even hinted at nudity, showing Steve staring at a mannequin in a leather miniskirt and poking at it. When Al walked over and asked if he felt even a little ashamed, his reply was so shocking that it would get the show canceled instantly today. He said, "Oh, come on, Al, look at how she's dressed. She was asking for it." And that wasn't the only line viewers found disturbing. The episode also included comments about young boys and inappropriate behavior, content that was considered far too explicit for TV back then. This was the moment Terry Ricolta stepped in. She launched a huge letter-writing campaign telling advertisers to pull their support. A few actually did, surprising the network and sending a clear message that things were getting out of hand. From then on, the producers watched their content much more carefully. Years later, in a 2021 interview on WTF with Marc Maron, Katie Sagal, Peggy Bundy herself, explained how the cast handled the backlash. She joked, quote, "We sent her flowers every year. She tried to get us off the air, and instead we ended up on the front page of the New York Times. Our audience doubled," unquote. Even with all this drama, Married with Children kept its loyal fans. It never dominated the ratings, but it was still one of Fox's most loved shows. In fact, Ricolta's protest may have made it even more popular. Which leads to the big question, what's next? Over the past few years, the show has suddenly become popular again, especially after news broke 2 years ago that an animated revival was in the works. Reports claimed the original cast would return: Ed O'Neill, Katie Sagal, Christina Applegate, and David Faustino. They wouldn't appear on screen this time, but they would voice their iconic characters. In 2023, Applegate confirmed that the cast was still attached to the project. But as time passed, no real progress was announced, leaving fans and actors waiting. Then, just a few months ago, Matt Mitchovich from TV Line revealed that the animated reboot was no longer moving forward. Still, he noted that Sony Pictures Television considers the franchise important, so it's not completely dead. It's a shame because the reboot had strong potential. Alex Carter, an executive producer for Family Guy, had written the revival and was set to run the show. The story would have followed the Bundy family after they moved to Florida, only for disaster to follow them every step of the way. Even though the project is shelved for now, another executive could revive it someday. For now, the cast is busy with their own careers. Some found huge success, others tried different paths. Ed O'Neill, who played the Bundy family's grumpy patriarch, earned 2 Golden Globe nominations for the role. But interestingly, he almost didn't get the part at all. Writer-producer Richard Gurman revealed in his book Married with Children vs. the World that he and network executive Barry Diller nearly replaced O'Neill before filming even began. Diller had never heard of O'Neill and worried he wasn't the right choice, calling him a dramatic actor from New York. O'Neill didn't learn this until much later, and despite the pressure, he filmed the pilot anyway. Thankfully, they stuck with him. That decision helped create one of Fox's longest-running sitcoms. After the show ended, Ed O'Neill continued acting in both film and TV. He appeared in the 1999 thriller The Bone Collector alongside Denzel Washington and Angelina Jolie, starred in the adventure series The 10th Kingdom, and even joined the 2000 reboot of Dragnet. He's built an impressive career, but the role everyone knows him for is Jay Pritchett from Modern Family. From 2019 to 2020, he brought that character to life and became a fan favorite. During the show's long run, he earned 4 Screen Actors Guild Awards with the cast and collected 3 Emmy nominations along the way. After his years of comedy on Modern Family, O'Neill stepped into something completely different. He traded last for drama in FX's miniseries Clipped, where he took on the tough role of Donald Sterling, the disgraced former LA Clippers owner. Compared to her on-screen husband, Katie Sagal actually spent more time in the music world before she ever became Peggy Bundy. She sang backup for many artists, most famously as one of Bette Midler's harlots, before launching her own career. She released her first album, Well, in 1994, and later shifted her focus to acting. Playing Peggy Bundy changed everything for her, earning 4 Golden Globe nominations and opening the door to countless roles after the show ended. When she first read the script, she couldn't believe how bold it was. She thought it was hilarious, but also wondered if anyone would dare to watch something so different. She remembered reading it thinking, "This is hysterically funny, but no one will watch it because it's too outside the box," she told ABC News back in 2017. She even expected the show to get canceled early on, especially since the network was basically unknown. Still, she said the cast clicked instantly, and filming was always a good time. After Married with Children, Segal worked steadily, taking on roles in Tucker, That 70s Show, 8 Simple Rules, and even voicing Leela in Futurama. But her biggest breakout after Peggy Bundy came with her powerful performance as Gemma Tellen Morrow in Sons of Anarchy, which earned her a Golden Globe. She also appeared in films like Pitch Perfect, Bleed for This, and the recent thriller Trust. Then there's one of the show's biggest success stories, Christina Applegate, who played the unforgettable Kelly Bundy. She grew up on that set, and her career flourished afterward with a long list of roles in both movies and TV. And because she spent so much of her childhood on the show, she built real, lasting bonds with her co-stars. On an episode of her podcast, Messy, last year, she talked about how the cast still checks on each other all the time. She said she often speaks on the phone with Ed O'Neill, and Katie Segal still visits her regularly. She also mentioned running into her on-screen brother, David Faustino, pretty often since their kids went to the same school at one point. Some of Applegate's standout movies include Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, The Sweetest Thing, Bad Moms, and one of her most iconic roles, Veronica Corningstone in the comedy classic Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Christina Applegate didn't just shine on TV and film, she also proved herself on stage. In 2005, she stepped onto Broadway for the revival of Sweet Charity, earning a Tony nomination for her performance. And with a long list of acting credits behind her, she was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2021. She's still expanding her career too. Her new book, You with the Sad Eyes, is set for release in March 2026. Then there's one of the show's biggest success stories, David Faustino, the actor fans grew up knowing as Bud Bundy. Even years after the show ended, he revealed that every summer, people showed up at his house just to blast the show's theme song, Love and Marriage. He admits he finds it a little absurd, especially since it happens 10 or 20 times, but it doesn't bother him much. In fact, he told Entertainment Weekly in 2010 that he's grateful for everything the show brought into his life. He said, "It's been a good life for me." Like the rest of the cast, Faustino stayed busy after the series too. He even reunited with Ed O'Neill in a couple of Modern Family episodes. Some of his standout TV credits include HBO's Entourage and the drama series Bones. And if the animated Married with Children spinoff actually happened, he would have fit in right in. Faustino built an impressive voice acting career, most notably as Mako in The Legend of Korra and its video game counterpart. Seeing the cast thriving in different directions is great, but it leads to a big question. If a reboot happened today, would it actually work? The original show was filled with questionable jokes, wild moments, and a proudly dysfunctional family. But with audiences now more aware and sensitive to themes like sexism, fat-shaming, and violence, would the Bundys survive modern TV standards? Take the idea of marriage, for instance. The show often pushed the message that couples should stay together no matter what. Meanwhile, Al Bundy constantly complained about everything in his life, especially his marriage. Yet, divorce? Not even a thought. In today's world where people recognize that unhealthy relationships can harm both parents and children, that mindset feels outdated. Then there's the fat shaming. Al always had a punchline ready, and while it was played for humor back then, it wouldn't land the same way today. His character basically became a walking example of what not to be. The show also tried to tackle feminism, but in its own exaggerated, often off-base way. Marcy, the resident feminist, crossed into near misandry at times. One example, creating a group called WOMB, Women Over Men Butt Kiss. Her constant scolding of male characters didn't exactly make her a well-rounded representation of the movement. The double standards didn't stop there. Kelly was painted as the stereotypical dumb blonde, while Bud was labeled the smart sibling. Today, at least, Kelly's confidence in her own sexuality would be viewed more positively. What absolutely wouldn't be accepted anymore is Bud repeatedly shaming her for that. And finally, the biggest deal breaker for modern audiences, Al Bundy's sudden outbursts of violence. Back then, it reflected a generation that romanticized toughness and physical dominance. Today, that same behavior would instantly place a character in the villain category, not the lead. In the end, the cast may still be beloved, but the show itself is a different story. The world has changed, people have changed, and humor has changed. While Married with Children will always remain a classic, a modern reboot would have to walk a very thin line to survive. And maybe that's the beauty of it. Some shows are best remembered as they were, untouched, unfiltered, and forever part of TV history.